a season-ending injury in the final week. Play before Young turned it over, and we get it right back. There's Minkah Fitzpatrick. Also talk about we need him to have a big game. He gets a big return, finds the corner. As long as he could outrun the receivers, this is gonna be a pick six all the way. End of this 2 minute, and we will slide or dive as the ball pops out. Take over. Immediately we get pass rushes. They go towards the end zone. Over as we might have, and no, we don't have. Over on essentially every single drive as we get the ball back 5 yards away. As Young throws what's gonna be a pick six, I am sure. So off the mark. Young in the pocket, delivers it back down to Sims, but it's Newsome with the pick. Stidham going deep upfield, and well, we stand tall. Just give up a field goal, though Taylor gets his play as they try to go down the middle. Though they cleared it that time, the juke and the speed make it a 3-score lead. And yeah, they get a easy walk-in score. Young going deeper downfield. There is Sims, and there we go. We were up 10-0 until about halfway in the second quarter, and then from there, straight downhill, and leaves us with a lot of work to do. And after that horrifically bad showing in the wild card, we have reached our next off season, and we'll also get through the entirety of the regular season of season 3 today. But we end season 2 with a Chiefs Super Bowl, 23-8 over the Eagles. And it's funny enough that these teams are in, considering they're not the actual teams. But it is Kansas City's 4th Super Bowl, with the MVP being Jelani Tavai. Rather interesting. You can see the yearly award winners over on the right-hand side. And we actually had a lot of accolades this offseason. A lot of players were all pro this year. And on top of that, we also had some guys in the running and also won some of the yearly awards. But it was rather interesting that the fact that Bryce Young, the guy who threw away our postseason and did not play well in any game we watched last year, had so many awards, or at least in the running for it. And for some of those guys, it's going to be great moving forward. However, I do plan on moving on from Bryce Young in this episode, because every time we've watched, he's just been a walking turnover, and that's cost us more than it has helped us. But we will deal with that when we get to that. First off here for us, we have some player re-signings to do. Minkah Fitzpatrick, he was our only real good player in that wild card. Need to bring him back. Jahmyr Gibbs. Bryce Young is actually up for negotiations, and he actually not looking to come back. Something we might do for him would be a tag and trade situation, get something out of him. As for other guys, Eddie Jackson we might look to bring back. John Mechie, we do need some receiver help, don't want to lose out on him. Jonah Williams, a regular starter. We've got some work to do, again, including another Pro Bowler in Ryan Kelly. So let's start at the top with Minkah Fitzpatrick. Now, we did try to negotiate with him last year, and he wasn't all too thrilled in coming back. Hopefully, we could have a better negotiation this time around, because, again, I would like to tag and trade Bryce Young. So let's offer him a lot more money here. Still leaves us with a bunch of space. He takes the money. As for Jahmyr Gibbs, he does have interest in sticking around, which is great. Again, we'll bump up these numbers a little bit, make it 10 mil, 4 years. We got the space, and he likes the deal. Now, as for Bryce Young, he's looking for a 5-year deal, sitting around 35 mil per season, and that's definitely not something we are going to look to do. What I would like to offer, just to say that we put in an offer, would be a 1-year deal. He'll probably decline, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Again, he was looking for about 35 mil a season. If you want to franchise tag him, it's technically a cheaper deal. So that's most likely what we're going to do there. Eddie Jackson, I'm going to wait to see what our options are in free agency first, so we're going to move on from him. John Mechie, I do want to bring back, and he has interest in coming back. So we'll bump up these numbers a little bit, boost a year, why not? And he'll come back. As long as these guys have interest, that is great for us. Jonah Williams, he's got a good few years left on him, only 27, so we'll definitely put in a good offer here, and he loves it. Ryan Kelly did see some regression after the season, but he's still at a starting caliber kind of player. At 32, we'll put in a decent offer here, and he will also be back. It's probably helped out as well that we've been in the playoffs every single season. Do need to try to bring back To'o. He's interested. We'll go ahead and try to just bring him back here. Should be decently priced, $3 million in total a year. Brought him back. So far, free agency working out pretty well here for us. Fidarian Mathis has not seen any play time, so we'll move on from him for now. Dalvin Tomlinson we might end up bringing back, but again, we are going to see what all of our options are. Chester Dixon, you know, he's 23 at a 65. He might end up coming back, but we'll see. Bradley Bozeman as pure depth. I like to have good offensive line depth, and he's just not interested in signing. So that's great. Maybe we bring him back later. Now, the last one I would like to try to re-sign here is Anders Carlson. He was great for us this year, surprisingly. So offer him a good little bit here, make it a multi-year deal, see if he likes it, and he loves it. So that will conclude signings, but we will finish with giving that franchise tag here to Bryce Young and then hopefully trading him, because teams should have a bunch of cap here as it was a fantasy draft. And as for open free agency, it actually went extremely well for us. So to recap what I did, Darius Williams brought him in. He's going to be a third corner for us. I don't know if he's going to be slot or outside. We could play around with it, but he's an upgrade on who we had. We finally did bring back Jerron Reed, who Madden unfortunately cut off the team, was then picked up by the Bills because we had a practice injury during a just sim through the week. So he's back. We did bring back Eddie Jackson. We brought in Anthony Jennings. I plan on switching the defense to a 4-3 and running true proper edge rushers mixed with our defensive tackles, and hopefully that's going to elevate our defense that has continually been one of the worst in the league. It's just been the offense somehow lifting us up. We brought in another backup guard, maybe potential starter in Titus Howard. Just again, bringing in as much talent as possible. Mac Wilson Sr. is joining us. Carl Lawson's coming in. Bozeman returns. Have a new punter out of Auburn in Aaron. I'm assuming that's what that is supposed to be. Suppose? That's suppose and yeah, it's all jokes in there. Alex Wright is joining us. Tried to sign him last year. He didn't want to. This year, he does. Also brought in Terrell Lewis and Sean Wiley, a second-year guy who is part of this series. He was a rookie last year, I believe. KJ Britt joins, as well as Colby Wooden. So we've added a lot of depth, a lot of true edge rushers. So that was pretty much the first and foremost thing I wanted to do in this offseason was find actual edge rushers and stop just using defensive tackles. So now moving forward to prepping for the draft, at least, there are some actual round one talents. Now with Trey Lynch, he's listed as a run-stopping strong safety out of Auburn. I don't see necessarily the ratings that I think would be very good. Doesn't have man coverage, has a little bit of some zone. Tackling, hit power, great. But if you can't cover, you're not really gonna help us out. You're a linebacker. Plus, we already are pretty set at safety. So that is one first rounder that we don't necessarily need to go after. However, Bo Ellis is someone we could consider as a true round one prospect. And I don't know exactly how well I see him being a round one. Plus, he's a small gadget style kind of guy at 5'9", 195, 22 years old out of Bama. He's got some speed to his game, just not a whole lot of strength. No jumping, so how you're going to catch the ball being 5'9" on a toss-up, who knows? But he has A deep route running, F medium, D short. So that's going to limit what he can do. The hands seem to be, I would say, questionable, but I keep seeing these C's and D's, and the ratings themselves actually don't seem to be all too bad. So Bo Ellis is a possibility if he's sitting around where we are picking. Moving past round ones, other options, there's a couple running backs I don't think we really need to go after. There's another receiver in Isaiah Hutchins, and he's a day 3 talent. If he's available late and we have a pick then sure, maybe we could bring him in. There is Will Reese, a actual really good looking offensive lineman who has some pretty decent strength. The speed really isn't anything crazy, but there's athleticism elsewhere. My concern is he has F injury. On top of that, he is solely a finesse blocker, although that finesse is really good. The power game struggles with C run block power and D pass block power. So he definitely wouldn't be an all-around guy, but again, he's a mid-round prospect. If he's available and we have a selection in his spot, we could pick him up. Getting past him over to the defensive side, there is Jerry Boykin in that same range, but we just really do not need any more defensive tackles, and that's what you're going to get with Boykin. He's 6'4", 335. He's got block shedding, a little bit of some pass rush moves. And then in the day 3 spots for the defense, you do have Jimmy Fitzgerald. We could use some depth at linebacker. He's a pure run stopper. Then there is a corner in Greg Shivers, a slot guy with D cover skills and F press. So not even on my board, really. So there's some options that we have, but that definitely opens it up for us to use what picks we have to make trades. So before we head in to the draft, let's find out what picks we're actually going to have. And it starts by making a couple big trades. Now, we already talked about trying to tag and trade Young, and that's exactly what I'm looking to do. Now, one of our options that we could go after is Mac Jones, and in Madden Sims, I always end up playing against Mac Jones in the postseason in Super Bowls, so he seemingly does really well in simulation. He doesn't have great throw power, so he's not going to be a true down the field threat. The short accuracy is fantastic, medium and deep are all right. His awareness is a 78, so nothing fantastic, but if he plays well in sim, that's really what we need. So let's just take a look at his numbers throughout this series. We are seeing a completion percentage typically around 66, 65. Interceptions, nothing crazy. Touchdowns, nothing crazy. Yards, around 4K. And I forgot to hit re-record when making the trade, so we ended up sending Bryce Young to the Broncos, and in return we get Mac Jones, and not a current 2 but a future 2, because it was just a smidge off for the current 2, and there's no one for us really in the second round this year, so we'll move back that 2, though we could use it now to maybe trade for a receiver. And I think that receiver that's best going to fit us is actually Jerry Jeudy. Obviously, there's higher rated receivers that we could try to go after, but we just don't have the capital to do that right now. So with Jerry Jeudy, you're going to get someone who's going to fit Mac a lot more because he is very much a short route running guy. He still has the deep and the medium. He might be a slot guy. Maybe we'll see how Mechie's release ends up matching up. And we'll see maybe some rotation with those two, but he very much looks like he should fit that of Mac Jones. So we're going to try to work something out here. Now, Jameson Williams for Jerry Jeudy, just straight up, what does that look like? It actually has us pretty close. And right now we have 2/3, a 4th, 5th, and a 7th. So let's toss in a 3 here. Feel like that might be a little bit too much. So maybe see in return, can we get like a future 5? Maybe that might balance things out a little bit more here. And that's the deal we're gonna make. And those are 2 really big changes for this offense. Again, we had made it to the playoffs back-to-back years, but turnovers were a consistent problem. And every time we did make it to the playoffs and we were watching, Young couldn't complete passes to his own team. We'll see if Mac Jones is any better. We have future first-round picks if we need to bundle up and go for Tua. That is always going to be a possibility. And on top of that, we also got rid of Williams because he just never held onto the ball. Consistently dropped it, didn't make plays. So we bring in Jerry Jeudy, and now our top 3 are going to be Tyreek Hill when healthy, Jerry Jeudy, and Mechie. If we could add someone else, I think that would be good, but we don't need to push it all too much. Right now we have a bunch of different options, and we'll see who ends up getting the starting spot on the outside. Best release is with Mechie, so we might have the top 2 be Jeudy as well as Hill, and then when we go 3 spread, Jeudy goes to the slot, Mechie to the outside. Possibility, we'll play with it as the season goes along. So as for the draft itself now, we don't really have any ability to go after any of the top targets. Bo Ellis just doesn't look like he's going to be that great. I think he could be solid, but Judy's going to be better for us off the bat. we still have an option to maybe bring in Isaiah Hutchins, and still have the option with the 3rd and a 4th round pick to still maybe bring in Will Reese, some depth, Jerry Boykin as an option, and then with that 5th and 7th, go after some depth like Fitzgerald, which we do kind of need, and then maybe Shivers, though doesn't look like he would be that great. We can definitely jump to our pick, see who's available, and just fill out some depth. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Jumping all the way to the 3rd round, spot 7. We pick again in the 4th round. Now, are either of the options we had still available? The offensive lineman looked really good, as we do have Isaiah Hutchins, and the offensive lineman is still there. He's probably the best of the bunch remaining, so it's going to be a pretty simple pick here for us. The 21-year-old out of Auburn. With hidden dev, I expected nothing less. 88 strength, speed, not too crazy considering he's an agile offensive lineman, but he does have good acceleration and agility. So we'll see if he ends up maybe potentially down the line taking over that Ryan Kelly spot at center because he was getting on the older side. Now sitting here in the 4th round, unfortunately the next option I thought we could have gone at, which was the defensive lineman, he has already gone. So we have 3 selections left. I would like to maybe use one here on Jimmy Fitzgerald again, just because depth is needed. Shivers doesn't look very good, and no one else really looks all too promising. There is Isaiah Hutchins, which I don't think we really took a look at early, so let's get an update on him. He's 6'4", 226, 22 years old. We could use some help with that group. Speed isn't awful for the size. He has some strength to his game, but he's just not that quick or agile. As for his attributes or his ratings, it all looks pretty bad. There's not any good route running. Run block is an A. Is he just a tight end at 6'4", 226? Maybe, but do we take him here? I'm just not feeling it. So let's trade away this 4th round pick for something in the future. And honestly, what looks to be the best option here for us is trading with the Texans. We pick up their 4th rounder next year, plus a 7th next year. See if we can do anything with those picks later on. And as we get to the 5th round, this is where I would feel a little bit more comfortable going after someone like Hutchins. And then with that 7th rounder, is the linebacker still there? No, the linebacker actually went. So maybe we could go somewhere else with that 7th rounder, but let's pick up the receiver in Hutchins. Just at least gonna provide some good depth here for us. He's a normal dev, has some pretty decent speed for the size, good acceleration, strength a 64, so maybe not a tight end. We could see what he looks like at that spot for sure, but it's at least going to be depth for us, and we didn't have to use a high pick for it. And with our final selection, there is nothing but potential undrafteds left. However, there is a fullback that looks like he could be really good. And we haven't, I think, ever had a true fullback in this series. So Ron Bailey out of Auburn. He's 6'3", 253, 22 years old. He's purely a blocking guy. At least that's what the archetype says. Speed isn't too bad, running a higher 4.7. Strength isn't too bad either. The skill set, A pass block, B run block, A impact. What is his lead block? A to C. So I would assume probably towards the higher end considering everything else. And then catching is an A to a C, B carrying. He might be an all-around guy. And someone that can maybe help lead the way for Josh Jacobs as well as Jahmyr Gibbs. So let's fill in a spot that we haven't had yet with Ron Bailey, a normal dev with 83 strength, 78 speed, and 82 acceleration. Now let's go meet this class. And after doing most of our work in free agency, the small draft class still looks to be a pretty impactful class. A 73, 67, and a 72 at fullback. So Will Reese, the hidden dev offensive lineman, who has, for the most part, pretty well balanced game, really good lead block that could be good at center or either of the guard spots. Pass block power needs a little bit of some work, so we could definitely try to work on that. But if you play him at center, you could at least get help with some power blocking from your left or right guard. I think that's probably the best spot to work with him in the future. But we also really need to try to find a way to help his injury, as it is a 79. As for the receiver in Hutchins, normal dev, and he has some solid hands, Route running is very raw, has some good release. Any chance that the run block is actually decent? 59 for run block, who also has low injury too at a 79. So not seeing necessarily someone who could play tight end, but let's just make the switch and see what the overall changes to. And he actually does go up to a 69. So we might rock with him at tight end this year. Be depth for us. We do have our top guy getting on the older side, so he could sit there and develop. All in all, I still think it's a great depth spot, and we could play him at both receiver and tight end. And lastly, but certainly not least, we have the fullback in Ron Bailey, 72 normal dev, great lead block with an 81. Run blocking isn't too bad either. He has a little bit of some trucking, some carrying. Catching wise, definitely nothing great. Don't want to be thrown to the fullback that often, but get him out there to help lead block. That should certainly open up some more rushing lanes for us and help out our offensive line. And now with all those offseason moves finally complete, let's take a look at the starting lineup. Moving into season 3 now with a new quarterback, Mac Jones. We still have Stidham as our backup, the only real backup options we have. Jacobs and Gibbs, the primary running backs. They will rotate a good bit. We're going to have Hill back this year, which is great. Had a pretty big injury late on last year. And Jerry Jeudy will be wide receiver 2. However, Mechie's kind of stuck behind my head. You could just see him peeking out a little bit. He will go out to play the outside receiver in the 3 or 4 sets. Jeudy will be our starting slot. The next option will be Sims. And we did end up switching back Hutchins, who we had at tight end. He's back to receiver because we really needed depth there. And we found one more UDFA receiver in Roy Davis to help fill out that group. Will we see much of Hutchins and Davis? Probably not, but we have depth because we needed it. Starting tight end is still Everett with Irv Smith Jr. and Latu behind. Starting offensive line is exactly the same. Now, Howard is going to get the primary backup offensive line spot, but Reese can definitely step into. We have 2 great options. I did end up having to cut Bozeman because we just had way too many players, so Reese essentially took over for Bozeman. Getting to the defensive side, we finally have true defensive tackles and edge rushers this year. Anthony Jennings getting the start at left end, Carl Lawson over on the right-hand side, then Allen and Reed down the middle. McIntyre will still get some playing time. He's going to rotate with that group, though primarily just as a run stopper. The linebacker group is a little bit different, an upgrade this year with Wilson Sr. coming in. All of our linebackers are 76 overall, so that's kind of fun. I've also switched Fitzpatrick and Jordan Battle. We're going to have Fitzpatrick as our free safety because he has a lot more of that roaming skill set. Battle does not quite have that. He's definitely more of a strong safety, so that is another change. McCreary and Barlow are going to be the primary corners for in the base packages for the outside, though Barlow will go to the slot in any 3 or 4 spread, and then we'll have Williams go to the outside. And that pretty much covered everything outside of rush, which is going to be the same exact lineup. Anyway, our sub backers are going to be Harrison Jr. He had a really good season last year. He was a Pro Bowler. And then we have Wilson Sr. stepping in there. We also have To'o. Still never looked it up. I think that's how it's pronounced. And of course we have Collins. He's regressed a little bit, so he's now the 4th option there. But that does finally get us ready to start season 3 with a pretty refreshed squad, a lot of new skill player guys, and that was the kind of aim for the offseason. So I want to jump in, watch a little bit here of the Tampa Bay game, not spend too much time on it, but let's go watch the first drive, at least with Mac Jones at QB. However, we will be starting on the defensive side, so we're gonna get through this one at least. Unless they get inside the red zone, we will watch all red zone attempts, no matter what side it is getting down the field. 2nd and 9, how about 29 to Brandon Ayuk as they get inside the opposite 35. 5 more goes to Kyler. They're down inside the 30. Then a tackle for a loss. Wish it told us who. 3rd and 8. Good stop. Will force a field goal attempt here. No, they went for it. And I say that is close enough. So the defense nearly got the stop, but didn't quite do enough. So they got a bunch down to the bottom, though they hand it off down the middle. That's Saquon who gets stuffed. Deshaun Hand has been a regular starter for us the past couple of years. However, he is not a regular starter this year. He's been relegated to rotational. Good stop there, I believe, is Wilson Sr. We've had games where the run stopping has been hit or miss, but hopefully this year the defense finally takes that next step. 3rd and 13, Kyler just past Ayuk. That could have been at least a first, if not a touchdown. Instead, I imagine they take the field goal here. They do send out the unit. Kicking this one at the 34 for a 44-yarder to end their first drive. It's good. But now it's time to see what Mac Jones can do with his new team. He's going to be rocking 11 with us. We didn't have 10 available for him. First pass, first completion, will pick up 6 yards to the new receiver in Jerry Jeudy. Love that the first connection is the 2 new additions for this offense. And it's also funny enough that Jerry Jeudy is wearing the same number as Williams was. Stretch on second down, though we don't get to that second level there. And even on top of that, they get a tackle for a loss. So 3rd and 4, got a single back set here. Under pressure, delivered well to the outside. We find Everett up to the 44. Now, the offense should look a lot different this year outside of the change of quarterback and receiver because we did change playbooks. We were using Buffalo, now we're back to New Orleans playbook as we switched schemes this season to better fit Mac Jones. And really, the big change is through a quarterback that's a field general. The problem we had with Young is that he didn't field general. He forced things, and that's when we had mistakes. Need to take that away this year as we get close to the first down. However, a flag is down. And it's actually going to give us some extra yardage as they hit Mac Jones a little bit late there. So first down at the 32. We go back to the stretch. Good lead block. First down gained as Jacobs gets inside the red zone. But it's here where we have to see our biggest improvement in finishing drives. We had some decent drives last year. We just wouldn't finish them. 1st and 10, go up top. We have Jeudy, gain of 2. Now, ultimately, by the end of this game, I would love a win because last year we were awful in our division games. I'd like to change around a lot of things from last year outside of the playoff appearance. Tackle for a loss there on second leaves 3rd and 11. Well, that depends if we get the snap off in time. 1 second left? No, we will send it to the second quarter. Take our time here to come up with a good play to get us at least that first down, if not our first touchdown of the season. And it'll be from a spread look. Got 3 receivers up top, Everett alone down to the bottom. They send the blitz, we set up the halfback screen. We got Gibbs who overruns the blockers and is oh so close, but 2 yards short. At the 8, I think we got to take the smart option here and level this game up. So let's not do that. Let's actually keep the offense out there. All right. Like the call OC with some beautiful blocking down to about the half-yard line with Jacobs. Of course, that time I would be more willing to take the safer play, but I'm glad we didn't. 1st and goal. Heavy set for both sides. Who gets the bigger push here? Well, Jacobs spins, but he's going to end up losing about a yard and a half. While we have a pretty good offensive line, we don't necessarily have the strongest offensive line. So we get a toss out wide and a little subtle juke gets us our lead and our first touchdown of season 3. And with that lead, let's start to try to jump through this one a little bit quicker. Though it's going to depend on how well our defense does in this game. As we have a 3rd and 1, we give up 8 to Saquon Barkley. 1st and 10, 10 more leaves 2nd and inches. They pick it up. Another one, Saquon. 4 straight plays, make it 5 straight plays. They're down to the 35. Just keep feeding them. Why not? Thrown away, maybe you should have went back to Saquon. As they do there, make it 3rd and 2, and we're jumping back in. So far, the run-stopping ability of this defense not looking particularly well, though it is against an X-Factor running back. As Murray steps up, has his receiver, though, knocked away. Not sure who's wearing 20 this year. I believe that is the new addition in Williams. Brings up 2nd and 10. They go back to Saquon down the middle, trucks through half the team, and they're down to the 1. That's just something we're going to have to try to compete with more this year, with us having less defensive tackles on the line. 1st and goal. Who gets the better push? Well, you don't need as much of a push when you have a lane to dive through. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers retake the lead behind Dalton Ballantyne. So it seems like our defense is definitely still the side we need to see step up a good bit more. We start back on offense with a gain of 4, then Josh Jacobs with that fresh set. 7 more as we have to replay the down as we hit the 2-minute warning. So how well can we do under pressure? Well, we have a 3rd and 1 here in which we get 1, but they say 4th and inches. Well, we spent a draft pick on the position, so let's utilize it. The fullback to get his first NFL carry. Hand off, good push from the defensive line. Bailey destroyed by Tart. A turnover on downs. And that was Jonah Williams who got blown up. Jordan Battle gets the knockaway, but we have several guards who could step in to play that spot. So we'll have to keep an eye on it as we give up another 3rd down conversion. Knocked away that time by McCreary, who wears 21, so still thinking 20 is Williams. As they pick up 20, Bateman inside the red zone. Tampa Bay trying to find a 2-score lead in front of their home crowd here before half. As they got 2 up top, 1 down below, we send the blitz. That leaves the receiver open, but he heard the footsteps, and 37 is Williams. So who do we have wearing 20? Maybe it's Barlow. I don't know. Apparently I need to double check the roster here. But whoever it was, 20 made a good play earlier. And he's getting not the play that time. Should have been a sack. Instead, Tampa Bay takes the lead. Bateman with a touchdown grab. And I can confirm 20 is now the 2nd-year corner in Barlow. Well, you make some plays, you miss out on some plays, a drop to start our next drive in crunch time here. We pick up 4 yards, not going to help us get into range, as we have a throwaway that will pretty much end our first half here. We had opportunity, we just did not take advantage of that opportunity. Luckily, we start off with the ball this half, so let's find a good drive. Starting with a throwaway isn't great, but it's also not a negative play. So take what we can as Jalen Thompson knocks it away. 4th and 3 backed up, multiple scores. You got to go ahead and punt here. Be a little bit smarter, and we do punt. Defense, we just need a stop from you. We got ourselves a 3rd and 6, and we will get the 3 and out as they do punt it away. Offense, let's get things going as Jalen Thompson gets another knockaway. 2nd and 10, 5 yards to Everett, and then a interception, Patrick Surtain. That's not great for us. And they actually immediately score off of it. Was it a pick 6 or did they... Yeah, it was a pick 6. Maybe I just didn't read it correctly. I don't know, but either way, not a good start here today. 24-7. 19 yards is definitely going to help out. We need Tyreek to have a big season for us. 3rd and 3, thrown away, we're jumping in. No more can we allow ourselves to just try to be skating by here. We need to make the plays. Let's make sure we have the swing out from Gibbs a little bit early on, as we might need to go that way. Or go with the in, but it's just off for Judy. It's a 2nd pick for Surtain. And essentially, it's a very short arm punt on 4th down anyway. But it's definitely still not a great play for us as the players are froze on the field. Madden having some fun here. Okay, we'll just have to rock with it. We don't have the scoreboard either as they pick up 25. Let's see if I can just refresh this page. And still not working. Either way, they're driving down the field here and they get another touchdown to Bateman. So this one looking like it is getting out of hand for us as we lose 3 to start our next drive. 5 yards to Gibbs. A penalty is going to back us up even more. 3rd and 13. We get 13, but I have no idea if this is a first down here. And it actually wasn't a first down, so it's a great thing I went to check. We did not convert the last time. Need this one. As we get Jacobs to the outside, great blocking. Get some more downfield to Juke. Broken tackle, and hey, let's keep this thing rolling here as the third quarter is closing into an end. We have time for maybe 1-2 plays, depending on how quick they go. A little bit of some play action. Get this one out to Judy, who gets the catch. Not gonna get to the sideline. Could have bought us one more play, but the fourth quarter has arrived. And unless we see some outrageous play here from us, I don't know. Not a good start. Defense definitely struggled to stop anything today. As we are down inside the red zone. Hey, we're down inside the 5. Let's watch the rest. Though we do need to make sure we at least pick up the first down here. 3rd and 1. We got a bunch up top, one down the bottom in Everett. We will throw up top for the touchdown. There we go. We get one back. John Mechie gets one in opening day. Now let's try to rack up a few more. Or even before we try to rack up more, let's try to get a 2-point conversion here. As it's 31-13, an empty set. They bring the blitz. We find Everett. And there we go. We just need to essentially double our score +1. But you know, at one time there was a young blonde kid from Canada who said never say never. So let's find out as we get a knock away from Eddie Jackson. 3rd and 7. We give up 7, but apparently they needed 7.2. 4th and inches. They do punt it away. All right, offense, can we get a quick score from you here? Got about 5 minutes now, less than 5 minutes left in this one. 9 to Tyreek Hill. Hasn't done a whole lot today. Mac Jones picks up the first. Back to Tyreek. We're taking some time off, but we're moving the ball down to the 22. Now, considering we are down 16 points, we need a touchdown and 2-point, then get a quick stop with a touchdown and a 2-point. That would be just a tie. Mac Jones dumps it off. Jones by Holcomb. We'll pick up 8. Let's get back to the line quickly here, which we do. No huddle. Runs off 7 seconds. Got 2 stacked down to the bottom, another 2 up top. Jones in the pocket, delivers a first down. That's going back to Jerry Jeudy. 24 of 32. It hasn't been awful for Jones. He's just taking the easiest option, which was kind of one of the reasons we brought him in. Though he misses his guy, and where is the DPI caller holding? We saw that guy all over Tyreek. I'm sensing a little bit some home cooking here from the Buccaneers. It's at least a good thing we played them twice in 1 year, at least. Depending on playoffs, you can maybe meet them again. Either way, this one has gotten too far away from us. We have the opportunity to not score late on, and we will lose in week 1. Not what we were looking for. There was some promising notes there on offense, but still only getting 15 points and giving up 30 plus. It leaves a little bit more to be desired. So let's start moving ahead a little bit and see if we can course correct. And we definitely turned some things around here, including a 45-14 dominant divisional win over the Panthers. However, as I mentioned in the last Panthers franchise video, whenever you have something good, you got to have a little bit of something bad to balance it out. And honestly, with a big win, we had some pretty bad news come from this game. And that is with Jerry Jeudy, the receiver we traded for. He partially tore his MCL. He's going to be out the next 7 games, so that'll put us close to a little bit past mid-season. So it's going to put a lot of weight on this receiving group. However, it seemed like with the new playbook, we're using a little bit more of some tight ends, perhaps. So I am hesitant to go try to make any sort of trade to help out this receiver group. So as for the lineup, it will still be Tyreek Hill, Mechie. I'm going to give Hutchins that third option to go to the outside receiver because he has the better release than that of Cam Sims, who we've primarily played as the slot receiver. And I think that's also where I want Roy Davis to be playing as well. So what we're going to do at that slot spot is go with Cam Sims, Roy Davis, and then as an emergency slot receiver, Jahmyr Gibbs. That's probably the best options we have currently on roster without having to do anything crazy. So because of that injury, I want to jump into a quarter sim here against the Arizona Cardinals. They have a really good defense. Offense isn't too bad. They're 2-1 to start the year. So if we could rack up some early wins, that would be just Very helpful for the remainder of this season. Always a good start. Very much can carry a team, as we did see with that Panthers franchise we also have running alongside this. So let's jump into a quarter sim and just see how it goes. Let's get this away battle going. First quarter, pretty defensive, though we do end with a touchdown. Great way to end it. Start the second quarter with a tie game, and then we're letting them drive. We give up 2 quick touchdowns, and we only managed a field goal there before half. So they take a 21-10 lead into the third quarter. Need more scoring for us, not them, as it did look like we were getting close to scoring there. So let's slow things down and hopefully end this drive with a touchdown. We are down now 18 points to start the fourth quarter. At the 27, we got our guy in motion. Fake it to him, handoff. Jacobs, nowhere to really go. Just got to stick the foot in the ground and get downfield. 14 carries, 38 yards. Not what you would expect from a 96, 97 overall running back with a pretty decent offensive line in front of him. We dump it off to him here. Try to get some space to the outside, but a quick gang tackle leaves 3rd and 5. Mac Jones, 14 of 22. Nothing flashy, but we don't need a flashy quarterback. We had that with Young, and it cost us too many turnovers. 3rd and 5, though, we need a first down here as he throws it away. Well, while I just said I don't need anything flashy, I at least need something a little bit more than that. 4th and 5, down quite a bit. We stay out on offense. Got 2 to the right, 2 to the left as well. We're going to find Everett, who will get us down inside the 10. Lowers the shoulder, though he comes down about a yard short. We get back to the line quickly here. Going to make a little quick flip. Jacobs on that right-hand side. Put him behind their stronger left side of the line. Those stood up. We very well might need to find a little bit more strength for the interior of this offensive line, as once again a big push from that right guard spot leaves us with 3rd and goal at the 1. All right, now Jonah Williams not on my good side, because again we've got several options for that spot. We're going to bring out Gibbs here. Look for a toss to the outside, and we've got all the space. The blocking was waiting. We get a touchdown. It took up a bit more time than what we were hoping for, but that's 1 back. However, we could use with getting more than just 1 back. Let's go with the 2-point attempt here. We're going to motion out Jacobs. He's left all alone. I want him on the zig route to the outside. Should be an easy score, but Mac Jones missed the throw. Instead, this might be a pick 2 going the full length of the field. And by might, it is. There is no one left. We could have made it a 10-point ball game. Instead, they widen it to 14. So really not what we were looking for there. Just got to do with what we got to do here. Defense, we need a quick stop as they have Achane at running back. That's a fun option for them. We get a tackle for a loss there. 2nd and 13, they pick up 11. 3rd and 1, that math does not math. Either way, they pick it up with Hurts. 10 more to Achane, 2nd and inches. Another first down gained as we're close to 2 minutes left. As we should hit the 2-minute warning after this play. They pick up the first down. There's no coming back in this one. That is 2 big losses with a mix of 2 big wins. So at this point, we are just very hit or miss. And I don't know what it is with this team, but they just don't like us watching any of the games. Because when we watch, we've lost. But every time that we've simmed, we've won as we go on a 3-game winning streak, including sweeping on this season the Panthers. It was a closer game than the previous 45-14. Instead, this time, 10-point game, 34-24. We also had a very narrow win versus the Seahawks, a field goal game. That puts us a game up on the Buccaneers, but we lost that matchup earlier on this season, so I would like to jump into a quarter sim against them. But before we do that, since it is week 8, let's have a mid-season, not exactly due to the now 18 weeks, but I would like to take a quick update to see how this season is looking and if we need to make any sort of trades here. So right now, we actually have the third ranked offense in the league, while our defense is 11th. That is an improvement for our defense this year. Offense about on par with what we had last year. And Mac Jones, through again about halfway of the season, 6 interceptions. That is an improvement on what Young was doing. 71% completion. This is what we wanted with our quarterback. Since we have so many skilled players at receiver, tight end, running back, we just needed a guy to give them the ball without giving the other team the ball. As for running, Josh Jacobs averaging 4.5 yards per carry. Gibbs, he's seeing maybe a slight increase in carries this year, but nothing crazy. I wish we could get a better split between the two, but you can't really do that without controlling the actual game. He's still averaging 4 yards a carry. Between the two, there's 9 touchdowns. Mac Jones has also ran for 1. Any love for the fullback here? He's had 2 carries, 0 yards, but 6 points on the board. Gotta love it for Ron Bailey. Receiving wise, John Mechie is our leading receiver by a total of 2 yards. Again, just throughout this series, I haven't really seen Tyreek be special. He's made some plays here and there, sure, but nothing that separates him from the rest of the pack. He does at least lead us in touchdowns right now with 5. Mechie has 2. Sims has 3, so he's doing well with his time out there. I wonder how much Gibbs has had to play slot this year. Hopefully not too much. And Hutchinson has had 2 grabs, and Roy has not gotten on the field yet. As for the offensive line, we're giving up some sacks, but it is pretty spread out amongst all the different guys who have played. And for some reason, Madden put in Tyler Steen instead of someone like Titus Howard or even the rookie in Will Reese, who in the depth chart are continually put above Steen. But it's Madden. We do what we can do here. Ronnie Harrison Jr. leads us in tackles, currently 10 higher than the next in Fitzpatrick. Tackles for a loss, Jonathan Allen has 10, not too bad. Anthony Jennings getting involved in the run stopping. Jerron Reed, not too bad. How about sacks this year? We're still missing out there, but we have about as many of the edge rushers as we can outside of having to trade away maybe some first round picks and maybe even Jahmyr Gibbs to bring in someone like Will Anderson Jr. Might be having to head towards that as we're just not getting sacks and there's no one in the draft, which we will talk about shortly. We do have 4 interceptions on the year, 2 for McCreary, 1 for Jordan Battle, and 1 for Henry To'oTo'o. Still, if I'm mispronouncing that, let me know down below. Kicking wise, it is not going to be 100% on the year for Anders Carlson, who did do that last year. He missed 1 field goal so far. He has had a long of 54. What was the miss? So it looks like he missed one somewhere between 39 to 49. I would have hoped that would have just been a block, but apparently no, he just missed it. So now moving towards some draft talk to see what our options are in the offseason or even right now, trade deadline day. Well, we have some receivers on offense and some offensive tackles. That's it for our offense. The best, projected at least, is a receiver out of Alabama and Braxton Samuel. He's 6'6", 212. However, the skill set doesn't look fantastic. He's around 3 to 4 projection. He actually is a pretty solid athlete, though, with that size, which could be great. It's just the hands, major concern. The route running is not polished at all. But he's a mid-round pick. We could take a shot on a mid-round pick. The best option we have for our offense early on would be an offensive lineman. However, Terrence Medlin, I already see C for pass block and run block, so I'm just not interested really. I want to say on any of these offensive guys. There is Steven Spencer here, day 3, who has a ceiling to be really good. However, the floor we are very much uncertain on. So some more information on him could be great late on. The defense, we've got some options. There is also another offensive tackle. Forgot about Corey Kincaid. My bad, Kincaid. He looks to be better, but the pass block is still a C. He's not going to replace any of our current starters. There is a run stopper who has a lot of finesse capability in Connor Booker. If he just happens to be speedy, then maybe solid to good at a DT. I doubt he has the ability to play a left or right end and would be better than any of the options we have. Injury is an F. doesn't look like it's going to be something that great for us. There are some later round run stoppers if we want to go that way. And then there is a free safety in Terry Stokes, who does actually look like he could be legit. However, we already have two solid options. I don't think I've shown it, but Jordan Battle did get a boost up to Star Dev. But yeah, Terry Stokes looks like he could be pretty solid, but I don't think this is a draft class in particular that has anything we are desperately needing. Now, the one spot we could definitely use some help is at pass rush. However, the only real option we have for that spot is Will Anderson Jr. He's a 93 overall at 23 years old. Superstar dev, the ratings all look fantastic. And on top of that, his stats throughout the series have not been all too bad. Rookie year, he was fantastic, 11.5 sacks. It was a little bit of a down 2024, only 4 sacks, but already this year he's matched that and would be, you would hope at least, on an upwards trajectory. But I've looked into this and there is essentially no way we could make a trade here with the Cowboys for him. We have several big picks here early on. I could put all of these here in. It does not matter. We could even throw in a 6 to just go ahead and fill it out. I essentially give them an entire draft of possibilities. We send them the offer. It is barely, if at all, midway up their interest level. So they're just not interested in giving up Will Anderson Jr. It would take probably 4 or 5 first-round picks to get the job done, and that's just not something we can do. Back stuck into the season, no trades this year. Can we pull a game even further ahead of now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and level the series on the year? We have a 1-game advantage. If we lose this game, they take back over top of the NFC South. So there's a little bit riding on it with a good half of the season left. Let's jump in to do a quarter sim and see how well we do. Now, can we break our trouble while watching? Well, we start off giving up a touchdown. We get a touchdown, though, as we end that first quarter. Did look like the Buccaneers were driving. Though we get the stop, drive down the field, just manage a field goal. We get another field goal, though we give up the lead right before half. 14-3, it's at least a close one. Let's try to regain that lead here in the third, as it's looking fairly defensive, though it's actually the Buccaneers who widen it. Now, I want to go ahead and get through this game here as we don't get the first down there. We do get the first down. There we go, 11 yards Jacobs. I do want to get through this game pretty quickly as we pick up 21 yards Cam Sims, though then we're going to backtrack a little bit, loss of 3. We get a nice gain, leaving 3rd and 4, in which we pick up the first down. 1st and goal at the 7. How about we watch ourselves score? Hopefully. Though watch as I say that, something crazy happens, and we don't. Knock on wood, cross your fingers, whatever you do for some good luck. We hand it off down to the bottom. Jacobs just not getting the blocks to the outside, which is quite interesting because we actually have an offensive line pretty much built from solely finesse guys. I think we have one power option that is at right tackle, which was the side we just ran that to. Jacobs trying to find space, 2nd down. Maybe he picks up a yard or 2. Leaving 3rd and goal. Come on with a spread look, 2 up top, 2 down to the bottom. Come on, Mac Jones, look for the end zone here. We need a touchdown. As he throws it, tipped away. Great play. Field goal, though, does us no good. And by that, I mean it would still leave us down. Obviously, we would get some points, but we need a touchdown here. We've got a couple options. A heavy tight end look, as we need some space to the side. It's Irv Smith who gets stopped at the 1. You gotta find a way to get that one in the end zone. It at least leaves us in a spot that maybe we could get a safety. That would be great. But you need to take another step further there on the route. Then the catch is a touchdown. It really just is those little things, and there is the safety. Doesn't tell us who by. It's not a -1 yard rush for a touchdown by Saquon Barkley. Madden apparently just didn't do the coding for that. But now a field goal would help us. It would put us up by 1, though a touchdown I would obviously prefer. As it's 1st and 10 here, we pick up 6 to Mechie, and then a kickoff for the penalty. I mean, come on, man, just clean it up a little bit. 2nd and 9, 1st down Cam Sims. He always comes through for this team. Thrown away by Mac Jones. Thrown away again by Mac Jones. And for a third straight time, backed up here, I don't believe we are in field goal range. Well, let's see what we could do to help out this offense. 4th and 10 at the 42. You got to get to the 32. That's quick math. We got Everett. We got Mechie. Everything else is going to have to be a catch and run. As they bring a little bit of a blitz, they just man up everyone well, and we just throw that one away, which is really just a field position situation there. But it's another turnover on downs offense. You got to make some plays. We really have too many great players on offense to only be having 15 points right now. As plus territory, the Buccaneers march, just looking to milk some clock. 2nd and 5 after the gain of 5 by Barkley. We hit the 2-minute warning. They got a 3rd and 2, and we give up 13 to Hunter Henry. We could give up a field goal, but a touchdown puts this one away. 3rd and 1, it comes down to this. Defense gives up a touchdown. We are down 8. That's prior to the point after. Make it 9 with 1:42 on the clock. Well, can we find a way to get a quick touchdown here? We head out. They got 2 stacked over on that left-hand side with Hill. They know the speed, but we're going to see if he can run by him either way. As Jones is having to step up in the pocket here. He gets to the outside. He can pick up some yardage. He has a little bit of some speed and gets bumped late. No 15 additional. We could really use with a bit more speed on the outside. Mechie, can you make something happen against Patrick Surtain? Probably not. We haven't seen him do too much there. Sims open towards the sideline. Good spot placement there by Jones. Right now we have no timeouts, so we need essentially perfect play here. 2 high safeties, both going to help out on the deep routes. Tyreek, once again towards the sideline, but just comes up short. That pick will seal it, and it's Jalen Thompson. He wrecked us last time, and I'm pretty sure ended the game with a pick as well. So I say from here, as we are definitely not breaking the trend of this one, let's start simming through chunk by chunk, get us to the last few weeks of the season, and see what it looks like, because right now jumping in and watching is not helping. And for the most part, that would continue to work out pretty well for us. However, we did lose our first just straight up simmed game against the Dolphins, 38-28. However, I say we very much counteracted that with a big win against the Jets. They only had 2 losses going into this one, and it was a nail biter, but we got the win 14-7. And from here on out, we're going to start getting a lot healthier. We've had a lot of big injuries, long-lasting injuries, I guess I should say, not necessarily to the highest rated of our players, but someone like Jerry Jeudy, he's going to be coming back now. The offense is going to get better. I want to get us to week 16 here and see where we sit, as we still have 1 more divisional game, then 2 more games. Patriots, Bills. And if we continue on the streak that we're seeing here, we should make it to the playoffs. But the Buccaneers, they're also doing really well right now. So we need them to start losing, or we might just be in based off of a wild card. So let's get to week 16 and see where we sit. And we did not get far simming. Only 1 week. Unfortunately, it was a loss against the Giants. 28-21. It was close, but that's not even the worst thing. Almost identically to last year, Tyreek Hill, partial ACL tear. His season is pretty much done. Maybe we would get him back for a Super Bowl game. But that's huge. And this is now 2 years in a row where he's not helping us out as much as we hope. He suffers a big injury, and he might be next on my list of Bryce Young and Williams, where we trade him away and try to bring in a replacement of similar or better value, arguably. He might be on that list. Devontae Smith could very well be his replacement. There's also Waddle that we could go after, because while we've been watching, he's just not doing much. So while we are going to miss him, it's still going to provide some good opportunity for the young guys. We just got back Jerry Jeudy, so that's great. We just need to stay healthy. Well, the team, they would fight back the next week and get a clutch win for us. 35-32, though after the bye, we would drop the game to the Jaguars. And that one is pretty big because that officially clinches the division for the Buccaneers. They're up 3 games on us and they have swept us this year. So they win the division. Our best hope now lies making it in the wild card. We have 3 games left. Falcons, Patriots, Bills. We need wins from, we would hope all of them. We would want to win them all. But what do we truly need to make the playoffs? Well, right now, we are not even in the running. The 7th seed, that belongs to the Giants. And then the 6th seed, the Cowboys. 5th seed are the San Francisco 49ers. So we're definitely going to need to win some. Right now, the Buccaneers are actually the number 1 seed. Currently, we'll see if they're able to keep that. They definitely have clinched their spot in the playoffs by winning our division. But at 8-6, it is a barrage of teams who are just sitting right there. So the Bears, I think they were also in it, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, because the 49ers have the division. So yeah, the Bears and the Giants, those are our biggest rivals for us right now. Unfortunately, we don't face any of them. So we need wins and we need some other teams to really, really help us out. Unfortunately, in that last game as well, we lost another player. And this one could also be until the Super Bowl. If we could manage to get there first, we would have to make the playoffs. But Gerald Everett dislocated his hip. He's out 7 weeks. That's going to give Irv Smith Jr. an opportunity at tight end, Latu an opportunity, and we're going to have our fullback help fill in as tight end 3. Now, luckily for us, the Falcons have not had the best season. They are 5-9. They will have a losing season no matter what. If they want to do something good this season, they should lose here. And they wouldn't make it easy for us. But they did go ahead and lose in this one, 24-21, a clutch win. As on top of not only getting a win, it does slate us currently as the 6th seed and locks in a winning season. So if we do make the playoffs this time around, it's not going to be with a losing record. So that is great. Tampa Bay, they did drop a game. No longer are they the number 1 seed. But we still have 2 games left to go. The New England Patriots, they went 3-12 so far this year. I'm smelling a trap game. Can our guys pull off another win, further pulling us up the playoff ranking? And we would with a massive win in week 17, 49-21, nearly dropping the 50 bomb on the New England Patriots. And it took a 21-point fourth quarter there as well. That is kind of a sigh of relief. However, in this final week, week 18, we face the Buffalo Bills, and they are one of the AFC's best. And as it stands right now, we are still yet to clinch the playoffs. Despite being the 5th best team here in the NFC, we're in the playoff picture. However, there are several other teams sitting in here around us, so a win could go a massive way here, would go a massive way. We wouldn't have to rely on luck. Unfortunately, we are playing against the Bills, who are the 3rd best team in the AFC, tied for 2nd with the 2nd best record, and they have clinched this. So if they really want to do us a favor and just play the backups, that would be cool. But if I'm being honest, I don't really want to jump into this game. We've seen what's happened while we have watched games this year, and we've seen that while we just straight up sim games, we've done very well. So I'm going to go with the flow of Madden here today. We're not jumping into this last game. We are going to sim through on what could put us in a record-setting 3rd playoff season in a state-only challenge. Granted, there have been some state-only challenges that have not gone 3 seasons, but no team has made it to the postseason 3 times. 3rd time could be the charm here for us. But that 3rd time would not be this time. The Buffalo Bills They took it in the fourth quarter as we gave up 14 points without scoring any ourselves. 28-21. They end our season. We ended up being the only team in the top group here to not make the playoffs, as the Buccaneers, Eagles, Seahawks, 49ers, Cowboys, not us, the Cardinals, make it for the NFC. Even slap in the Bears down here. The Giants also got skipped. This time the divisional rule comes back to bite us. So last season we made the playoffs as a losing team, 8-9, but the divisional rule got us in because we won our division. This year, going 10-7, a better record, winning record, does not do it for us. The Buccaneers, they had a massive bounce back year this year, 12-5, and for us, we're sitting at home as everyone else gets to, well, not everyone else, but those around us get to go on and continue playing. So let's wrap up by taking a look at the stats. We finished with the second offense in the NFL. Defensively, 22nd. So they massively dropped off in the second half, dropping from 11th all the way down to 22nd. Offense, they went up from, I want to say they were third to second. And Mac Jones, a much cleaner season than what we had from Bryce Young. 34 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 70% completion, and he threw for nearly 4,500 yards. Perfectly happy with that. He was sacked 18 times this season. Not bad at all for the offensive line. About one a game. Josh Jacobs, he ran for about 1,300 yards, about 5 yards a carry, 16 touchdowns, 2 fumbles. I'll take that with the 16 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, still less than 100 carries. Didn't do a whole lot with him, but he did have 8 touchdowns. Mac Jones ran it in twice without fumbling, though Mechie did fumble once. So did Tyreek Hill. And then as for our fullback, he did not have any more touchdowns in the second half of the season. Receiving, John Mechie, solid year, though the touchdowns just not quite there for him. Tyreek, a disappointing year for sure, and I plan on trading him next time. He's going to start regressing for sure. He's going to be 32 or so years old, and I think if we could pull off a trade with him for someone like Devontae Smith, maybe we have to put in a pick in there as well. I think that's going to be better for us in the long run. Cam Sims, he continues to just do well, but he's also going to be probably regressing. He's going to be turning 29, if not 30. 8 touchdowns this year for him. Jerry Jeudy didn't do a whole lot, but he was also injured a lot this year. 7 touchdowns. Everett, he is also going to start regressing. Irv Smith didn't do a whole lot. Gibbs partook a little bit in the receiving, but just nothing flashy there. Blocking, how do we do up front? 5 sacks given up by Evan Neal, not bad at all. Jonah Williams, 4. Ryan Kelly, 3. Landon Dickerson with 2, as well as Cam Robinson. Steen, in his limited playing time, he did give up a sack, and it looks like we did start to play a little bit more of Titus Howard and Will Reese later on, and Reese potentially could find himself in a starting spot next year, depending on some regression. Mac Wilson Sr. led us in tackles this year with 120. Harrison Jr., who led us last year, took a little bit of a step back this year, only 92, but still pretty solid. Tackles for a loss. We had 2 guys at 15, Jonathan Allen and Anthony Jennings, one of the new signees, who did lead us in sacks. So we saw a little bit more sacks this second half, but still nothing dominant by any means. 4 interceptions leads the team with McCreary. Williams had 3. Tuotuo had 1, as well as Barlow and Battle. How many forced fumbles this year? 3. Not great. Of those 3, we recovered 1. Kicking wise, still a really good year from Anders Carlson. He'll continue to be our kicker moving forward. Punting wise, fine, is what it is there. Did we have any kick returns in the Sims with Gibbs? We had 2 punt return touchdowns from Gibbs this year. I also think he's someone that we could end up trading away. He might help us bring someone in like Will Anderson Jr., and that might just put our defense to the next level, which clearly would have helped us this year. But that is ultimately a disappointing ending, as for the first time this series, we do not make it to the postseason, despite it, again, being a better year this year than last. There was a lot of improvement. The Buccaneers just played a better year. In fact, the 2 games we lost to them, That is the difference between us versus them in the playoffs. So that sucks, but we'll bounce back better next time. We'll make some of those trades that need to be made for the team's future and just to correct some guys not doing as much as they should. But overall, it was a good step forward, just not a good result. Make sure you guys stick around to see if we make it in season 4, which will be out this series every single Wednesday and Saturday. We also have the Panthers' traditional franchise referenced a few times throughout this series. That one is every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So 6 videos every single week. Make sure you see them by hitting that bell icon on the bottom right or scrolling down, hit the sub button. And don't forget the bell icon. If you tap that, you'll be notified of when these videos go live. So a lot of content coming. And next time, we got to find our way back in the playoffs. And maybe then, third time will be the charm.